In this video, I will use an anonymous deployment to demo ShiViz. The front page lists the tool features and documentation on how to use the tool. Clicking on the button Try Out ShiViz brings up the Inputs page. Here we can enter or upload a log that ShiViz will parse, process, and visualize. For now, we'll use a Voldemort log example in this video. Voldemort is an open source distributed data store system. Clicking on Visualize brings us to the main view in ShiViz. The graph of the parsed Voldemort execution appears in the center of the page. In this execution graph, time runs from top to bottom. Boxes at the top are hosts, and circles on the host timeline represent the events logged by a host. Interacting with this view, a developer can better understand the Voldemort execution. This view also shows the log lines on the left-hand side. Each log line is color-coded with the color of the corresponding host. Hovering over an event highlights the corresponding log line. Hovering over a log line highlights the corresponding event. Clicking on a log line in the panel brings up the dialog for the event. Notice that some event nodes appear larger and contain a number. These nodes correspond to a set of local, non-communication events that are collapsed visually to emphasize communication patterns. We can expand these and see the underlying structure. There are two other graph transformations in ShiViz. Clicking on a host box at the top brings these up. The first transformation allows us to hide a host and its timeline from view. The hidden hosts appear in the panel to the right. In the transformed graph, dashed edges denote communication between two events through the hidden events. Double-clicking a host will bring it back into view as well as its log lines. We can hide multiple hosts, and all of them will be accumulated in the panel to the right. Notice that throughout these transformations, the log to the left always reflects the visible events on the right. Bringing these back into view, one more transformation that I will demonstrate is filter by host. In the filter by host transformation, I can derive a subgraph of my execution graph that contains just the hosts and events that communicated with a particular host. ShiViz also has a powerful search feature. Users can search in two different ways. Users can search for a predefined motif, for example, a request response, broadcast, gather. Alternatively, users can create a custom motif. So they can do this by drawing a little subgraph on the left. So here I'll search for a little motif which displays a forwarding pattern. Searching for this motif highlights the corresponding search result. So canceling this search brings me back. Notice that I can perform multiple transformations at a time. For example, I filtered by pink host, and then I also hid another host. Coming back to the original graph, another kind of search that I can perform is a keyword search. For example, I can search for the word closing, and all the events that contain this word will be highlighted. Another powerful ShiViz feature is the ability to juxtapose two executions side by side. I'll go back to the Inputs page and upload a log that contains more than one execution. ShiViz processed this log and displayed two executions side by side. I can select one of the other executions to display on the left or on the right. The logs for the two executions are also displayed side by side. This view enables me to compare and juxtapose two executions. I can do many of the same things in this view as in the single execution view. For example, I can hide a host, and this host and its information will be hidden from both executions. I can hide by more than two hosts, just as before. Bringing these back, one feature that is exclusively available in this view is the ability to compare executions. Clicking on the Show Differences button will change the appearance of certain events that are unique to the execution. That is, events that do not occur in the other executions are visualized as these rhombus shapes. Because this event is a rhombus, we know that the sync failed event has not occurred in the orange host timeline in the other execution.